head on back, nice and relaxed. And what I want you to do this first moment that we're inside is tune into the sense of hearing. So first you're listening for the closest possible sound. So the sound of your breath, or even if you can tune into your heartbeat, try to find the sound of that. And then slowly let the senses expand outward. So we're trying to find kind of the next area of closest sounds. So kind of maybe your neighbors. Start to find other sounds inside of this room, the music, the cooler. Continue to try to expand outward. Maybe there's little tiny traces of sound that we're hearing even outside of this room or outside of this building. Good. So the reason we're starting with sound today, we don't always think about sound being a part of the throat chakra area. We usually think of the throat chakra as our ability to speak clearly and really express our truth. But resonance and sound are also part of the throat chakra. So that simple exercise of taking a couple of breaths just to listen, that can be super helpful. Just such an easy way to work on strengthening the throat chakra. So sound will be part of our experience today, but in the physical body, we'll make sure to include, just in addition to the normal stretches that we take anyways, we're going to make sure to include time for our neck, for shoulder stretches, neck stretches, just gentle moments to be right there. So that'll be our intention today, throat chakra. So with that going, let's go ahead and start off our nice initial stretches in the body. Extend the arms all the way to the back wall. Start to let the shoulders wiggle to the right. And shoulders wiggle to the left. Just nice and easy, both directions. A couple of times, it starts to open up shoulders and ribs. Feel how the shoulders are connected to the neck. Shoulder tightness creates neck tightness, oftentimes. Good. So after the next one, you're going to return the spine back in the center and start to take the right knee into the chest. Give that knee a good hug. Take a moment to do some nice ankle rolls. Loosen up the tightness that's there. And let's stretch that leg clear up to the sky, grab on, help the hamstring lengthen up. Like, hello. Couple of extra breaths here. So really focus on that hamstring. If you'd like to continue to try to pull it in even further, go for it. Or sometimes it's about trying to take some of the bend out of the knee, really lengthening through those muscles. So one more good inhale. And then exhale, hook the heel over to the back left side of the fabric. It's like a pigeon pose. So just slide the shin into the chest. It allows that right hip a chance to open up before we switch sides. So give that area a couple of easy moments. Just breathe. Nice deep inhale. Exhale. And let's start to free out this right leg. Extend up to sky, one last little pulse, and then drop it down. Once it's released, left knee comes into the chest. Do a few ankle rolls. And when that ankle feels good, start to extend leg up to sky. Grab on wherever you can reach. Maybe just a little bit more lengthening or pulling of the leg a little closer. Another deep inhale. And exhale, pigeon pose, tuck the heel over. The left heel over to the back right, slide the shin in. Nice deep inhale here. Easy, easy exhale. Start to free out this leg. Maybe a nice little extension up to sky again and drop it down. Good. So kick the feet free off the front. Let's sit up and let's invert right away. So once we're sitting, we're gonna hook our thumbs on the back end of the fabric. So with the thumbs hooked, you're pushing the fabric to about the pant line and then leaning back to lock it in place right there. Free grip. That's okay. Just straight up. Good. Now wide legs as you tilt upside down and then wrap your ankles. So wide legs means you won't fall, and then ankle wrap locks it in place. Yep, as soon as you've got the ankles there, you're welcome to start releasing the fingers.
Feel very secure.
And when the fingers are released, this is a chance where you can really make sure the head is loose, so you can bobble head a little bit, shaking yes and no. Both hands are safe to release if you feel secure enough. You're welcome to take some nice shoulder stretches, maybe clasp hands behind your back and let it open, or any other intuitive movements that feel good. And if you're nervous or you've had enough inverting, feel free to come up at any point that you like. That's always my disclaimer with inverting. As long as it still feels good, just let your spine hang. Yep, just like that. When you're coming up, gentle grab on and then just release the feet. Okay, yeah, switch hands. Yeah, switch hands. Make it balanced. Baby steps. That one, it counts. It counts. What I love about aerial yoga is inverting is so helpful for the last 3 chakras. So that includes that throat chakra. So just the act of being upside down occasionally helps to relax that area. Feel how easy it is to breathe in and out of the throat.
Well, the head is the heaviest appendage on the whole body.
Yep. So when you can just relax it down, oh. Yep. Yep, you've got a grip already, so just release your feet.
And arm around your legs.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah. Just hook your elbows and lean forward. That's our nice restorative pose. So I'm going to give time for those that are still upside down, those that are up. Let this be a chance for your neck to loosen up. So start rolling gently all the way here to the right shoulder, here to the left shoulder, and just notice if you have any tight spots on your neck today. So I go by the majority of class. We have the majority of class up at this point. So if you're still upside down, yep, maybe 2 or 3 breaths, but then start to work your way up. Give your head time to be flipped up. So yep, a little bit more neck rolling is fine. And as we allow ourselves to sit all the way up, let's even clasp hands behind the back. Let's shift our hands over to the right hip or the right waist. And then drop the right ear to the right shoulder. I love that because it pulls that left shoulder away and into the stretch. So another beautiful inhale. Relaxing exhale. Head lifts up, switch hands to left hip or left waist. And then left ear starts to drop down to left shoulder. Easing the tension right out of there. And when head rises up, release the hands. We're going to take a twist, bunch up the fabric to the front door half of the room. With the fabric bunched up there, you're going to take your shoulder that's closer to that back painted wall, open that arm to the back wall. Other side. Other side. Back wall.
No, no.
There. Yeah, so bunch up fabric.
This one. No.
That's it. So the arm either reaches or it can come to the fabric that's behind the back of your head. Whatever flows better. Notice how you can take a nice spinal twist. So let your neck be part of that twist. See how far to the back wall you can gaze. Beautiful. Start to release. We're taking the twist to the second half. Bunch up the fabric to the back door. Your arm that's to the back wall open or circle around to the back side of the head. Good. So make sure the neck is part of this twist for this last breath or two. And then we're going to head deeper inside the fabric. So bunch up the fabric to center of room. Lock your arms straight. The hip that just got lifted, that's the leg that we're going to swing all the way up and over. So by locking the arms straight, it gives your hips some space to move. Yep, so lock your arms straight.
Lock them straight.
Lock them straight out.
Push out. No.
Bunch up the fabric.
Punch the fabric. Stop. Okay. Punch the fabric up in your hands. Punch it up like this.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yep, and then lock your arms
And then
straight.
push your arms out. And then you have room to swing your leg up.
You got it.
Yeah, and you'll have to work that leg up. I'm the same way. It doesn't just go like this.
That's okay. Yep. And you're almost there. Go ahead and finish.
You do it with your hands, yeah. You help your hand with your hands. Help.
Whenever you get there, go ahead and take both feet into the fabric, wide legs. So arms press out for a moment. Feel the inner thigh stretching. Okay, let's slide our right hand down the right leg. Left hand reaches up and over. Try to keep the legs wide, so that left leg might want to try to be lazy and kind of pivot inward. Keep it wide. Let the head relax, leaning to the side. And then rise all the way up, second side. So slide left hand to left, right hand up and over. One more good breath with that head relaxed, neck gently stretching. Good. So then rise all the way up. So since we're all facing center of the room, it's left for some people and right for some people. But your leg that's closer to the mirror, bend that knee in. And then dive yourself forward to face the mirror. So So as you lean forward for a moment, push your long legs, push that heel down, and let it sway in and back just a little bit. So back and forward, just feel those muscles connecting into the hip. Like, hello. Oh, you got some tightness. Good. It's like a little wake-up call. It's like, hello, we're waving the leg. Beautiful. So then from here, we're gonna head to pigeon pose. This front leg is already set up for pigeon pose. We need to take the back leg back behind us. So the way we do that is grip each side of this front part of fabric, and then use that grip to lift the hips up so that you can swivel the back leg all the way around to be behind you. So you'll have to lift yourself up high enough that you can swivel around. It takes a little arm strength. Yep, you can even kind of use your legs to kind of like push into that front knee and then pivot around.
Just rotate that back, like, sort of down to the wall.
When you are there, you're welcome to free out your shoulders and just lean forward, sleeping pigeon. Yeah, just do the best that your hip has. More breaths. Try to slow down the breath, nice and deep. Let it pass through the throat. After that second breath, torso's coming back up. Rock your weight onto that front hip. Swivel the knees open, wide leg. Good. We're gonna start working on the back half. So your leg that's closer to the back wall, bend that knee in. And the arms dive out that end of fabric. Lean forward for this first moment. Your straight leg, push the heel down and let the leg kind of wave hello. Sway it slightly forward, slightly backward. Just work through all those muscles. Oh. Good. And when you feel like you've worked some of that tightness out, you're ready for pigeon. You need to grab back onto the fabric on this back end. Use that grip to help lift your hips up so that you can swivel the back leg behind you. Again, you're welcome to do sleeping pigeon when you get there. This is a great opportunity for the neck to just relax down and just sway some of the tightness out of the neck. Take another huge breath in. Easy exhale. Relax your weight onto your front hip. Swivel the knees open again, nice and wide. Beautiful. Go ahead and relax each ankle out of the ends of the fabric. So to go into a deep hamstring stretch here, we're going to take our taco fold. So take a stop sign with one hand. That hand pushes into the center of fabric. That's the holding place. So then your other ankle comes up to the spot where your hand is. And once you have one foot in, it's pretty easy to take the second foot next to the first. And then start to work on extending the legs upward as much as the flexibility is there. Know that kicking heels into the fabric makes it a little easier on the back muscles. It's less tight for the hamstrings. But if you're trying to go deeper, let your muscles relax so that you're folded in like a little taco. Just relaxing those muscles to fold in deeper and deeper. Make sure you're not holding tension in the neck. Perhaps it's just a nice long length up. Maybe it's folded in. Kind of like a plow pose, how it has that last little stretch for the neck. Another huge inhale. Beautiful exhale. You can either stay here a bit longer in hamstrings, and this stretch is exactly what you need. If you'd like to move on to a hip stretch, pivot the knees open, and then slide the heels as close into the pelvis as feels good for your body. Kind of like a cobbler's pose. You could physically rotate the knees even wider if that feels helpful, or you can just use this taco fold in to help bring us right into that stretch. Again, option for neck to drop down if that feels helpful. So one more beautiful inhale. A nice exhale. We're going to start facing forward. So both feet need to pivot their way to the front, popping one out the mirror side. Your hips are off center, so just shift left, right, left, right, left, right until you're facing forward. And before we exit the hammock, let's do a vampire pose. It's a really good way to get the shoulders lengthened away from the ears. Lots of stretching for shoulders and neck. So if you're familiar with vampire, just go into it. I'll guide you through it step by step if you need it. So first step is you need to take the fabric that's behind you. You're finding one thin layer to cover over the shoulders like a cap sleeve. The elbows are here to gather the excess down to the waist, because you don't want a bunch of extra bunched up at the neck. So all the excess is brought down to the waist. And then once I've got that one thin layer over the shoulders, I'm laying back to keep just that one layer where I want it. Okay, so the head should be off the back end, only one thin layer. So now this excess fabric that's at the waist, we need to start working it down to the feet. So step your feet into the fabric, lift the hips up. By lifting hips up, when you straighten the legs, it took a lot of that fabric down to the feet. If you need to do that 2 or 3 times, go for it. Step the feet in again, lift hips up, extend the legs out again. As soon as you've taken all the excess out, you have just enough to completely cover shoulders. Both hands reach up high, grabbing left and right. The feet hike up to sky, and the feet need to push into the spot that the hands gathered up on the fabric. So feet are on the inside, pushing out. That push helps us to engage the core to lift up. Yeah, so any help, I'll be by in just a moment. Anybody who needs the assistance. I have a lot of fabric here, so some more fabric down. You want to have to completely cover them, but it's still going to be a lot. So basically it pushes uncomfortably in the neck. There's too much. Going. More. Almost there. Yeah, that looks great. So see how this feels, how it's just one layer? That's what you're looking for. So now reach the hands up straight. Hike the feet up. The feet need to press into this. Yeah, now start to lift your hips up. Oh, yeah. Kind of felt good.
Just keep straighten yourself all the way up. There you are.
And all you have to do if you ever want to come down, is just slide back down.
Release a little, lift the leg, put your shoulder. Core, straighten yourself up with your outside. So, there you are. And then you come back. I wasn't this comfortable with it when I first started, and I've got more comfortable when I did. Just throws on. And fly. Yes. Fire.
I won't necessarily go over variations today, but if you wanted to play around with variations, take some time to play around with it. Those that you know and that you're comfortable with already. So if it's new to you, you're just practicing the normal one.
I never feel unsatisfying to me.
That's okay. Some people
really like it.
it's like addictive. Yeah, totally. And some people not, and that's okay.
Yeah, I like the other sort of ideas.
Yeah.
Pulling my spine.
Nothing wrong with that.
It just feels so right to me. I think
Yeah.
that's resolving a bunch of my stiff neck issues.
Good. Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Realize that today. That was awesome.
Throat chakra stuff. Well, looks like we're all out, so take your time to do your recovery. Make sure your head is ready to be sitting up again, so no rush. But your way to show me that, okay, I think I'm ready to go, I think things feel good, is to sit up all the way eventually. No rush to get there if you still need time, though, because you guys were upside down for a while. Okay, still take more time if you need it. If you're feeling pretty good at this point, we're going to come to some standing poses. So bunch up the fabric, lift hips up and out. Good. So we're going to head into a little core thing for a moment. So what we're going to do is try to get the elbows into the center of the fabric, and then the hands bunch up the fabric. So elbows in the center. Once you've got the elbows there, start to work the elbows into the waist, and then start to drop your knees down so that it's your elbows holding you up. Good. Your knees can start to lower. I'm going to give you two options. Option one is simply work one knee like a crunch at a time, and then crunch. The second option is trying to get both knees at the time to lift and gently lower. Use your exhale anytime you have something lifting. If you're doing one knee, try to get the other knee to hover off the ground while you're doing it. So it gives you just a moment with core. Yeah. Good. Let's go for maybe 5 more. You can take breaks if needed. 4, 3, 2, amazing. Last one. And then drop the knees to kneel. Start to work the hands out of the fabric, coming behind. So make sure you're covered up to the armpit area. Open the arms at a low angle so it locks you in place there. And then start to bow your belly forward. Start to let the gaze go up. So if your back has any struggles, just take it right out of it, no pressure. Otherwise, it's like a variation of camel pose, but you're just being held. So just 2 or 3 more breaths. Throat is nice and open. Good. Start to send your hips back. A gentle grip on the fabric. Right foot steps forward. Tuck the back toes, lift up that knee. We're in a nice lunge. Send the arms up by the ears and lean forward. You can feel the stretch on the front of the left hip, especially as you try to lower that both hips down just a little bit. Good. Nice inhale. Exhale. Start to straighten the front leg. The arms come down by the hips now. Lean forward halfway to pyramid. Keep that front leg as straight as possible, getting right into that hamstring. Good. So take a slight bend to the front knee. That gives you something to work off of. Rise up, take a grip of the fabric, and we're gonna try to do a nice little switch with our core. So both knees lift up, and then switch the feet out. Good. So first, we're capturing the shoulders. The front knee is bent, the arms are extending forward. Try to lower the hips down as much as you can. It's nice because in a regular yoga class, maybe our knees couldn't support us that well, but here, you've got some support holding your weight, so let those hips lower. Good. One more good inhale. And then exhale, front leg starts to straighten, the arms come down by the hips. You're capturing the biceps, leaning halfway forward, pyramid. Inhale, exhale, slip into the front knee as the torso rises up. Again, take a grip. Both knees come up, and then feet underneath you. And we're gonna lower softly back down to the knees. So hook your elbows this time. As you hook the elbows, you'll start to lean forward. You can keep the weight of the hips over the knees. That's the easy version. Or you can plank your hips forward. That's quite a bit deeper. A lot of times the limiting factor is the skin on the inside of the elbows. So just go to the extent that the skin is still okay. What this does is pull the shoulders open and back. Let the head drop down. Give it a couple of breaths, whichever extent you're in. So nice inhale. Good exhale. And you're gonna start to take your hands out. So what I do is kind of round my back. One hand reaches up to sky and then frees out, and then the other hand is out as well. So once you're there, take your right hand into the center of fabric, and everything else is in a kneeling position. Good, so we're gonna take half circles with this right arm. So let it go, swing down towards sacral area, and then up and even over a little bit to the top left corner of your mat. Good, nice and slow like that. 2 more, all the way to sacrum. And then up and even lean over. And 1 more, back. And up and over. Beautiful. Come through the center and then rise up. Switch it out. Left hand is in. Right hand is to floor. And swing back to sacrum. 3. Take that moment to pause, leaning up and over. Taking 2. And 1. Beautiful. So come back through the center. We're gonna plant both hands on the inside. Turn your thumbs down. Scoop toward your face, under to flip up. A little wrist lock, and then separate about as wide as your shoulders before you grip on. Good. So start working the feet out in front of you. You're gonna do a couple of pull-ups like this. You choose how many reps are there. You'll want to grip your hands onto the left and right side. That'll help you out. Good. When you're satisfied, you're ready to be out, walk yourself backwards, but until then, just keep on doing a couple of pull-ups. Work. Strong in this class. You'll notice once you're up, you can just flip your wrist to come out. Good, so let's all face the center of the room, grabbing the fabric nice and wide. We're stepping our feet wide enough that when we drop down, the knees do not go past the toes. So the fabric in front of us is like a balance beam. So start to squat down and up. We're taking just 5 more. 5 and up. 4 3, 2, and 1. Turn your toes to this long edge of mat. The hands can stay wide or start to slide together. Lean halfway forward. Just kind of relax your shoulders, relax the neck down. Try to think of the low back. Instead of letting it have some roundedness, try to straighten the low back. Imagine those sitting bones trying to point even further to the space behind you. Good. Deep bend to the knees, roll the spine up, one vertebrae at a time. Jump the feet together. Right ankle inside the fabric. You don't want to be too far behind plumb line, so hop right up to it. Either let yourself lean forward for a time, or slide the hands up and take a split forward. Whichever feels more appropriate for the hamstrings at this point in class. Good, so rising up, let the knees swivel out to the side. We're setting the head through the fabric and then sending our hips forward. If the knees are giving us some issues, you'll keep some of your weight over the hips or over that standing leg. If the knees are doing okay, let yourself take it to as deep of a pigeon pose as your hips and your knees are happy with. Yep, this is a good time to just roll through some of that neck tension. Good, let's come back. So hips go over the standing foot, straighten the front leg, and we'll take a twist before we switch sides. So left hand grips on right side, right hand opens up to the back wall. Good, face forward, one hand on each side. If you're doing the swinging switch, you'll step the left foot in and then right foot out. If that's scary for you at all, just from the ground, step your foot out and step the other foot in. Nothing wrong with switching that way instead. Okay, so leg is straight. Make sure you're right up to plumb line. You're either leaning forward or sliding your hands up to take the splits. Once inhale, exhale. Okay, come with your weight up over your standing legs, swivel the knee out to the side, send the head through, and then choose how much weight your knees can handle. Perhaps rolling through that neck tension all over again. One more good inhale. Exhale. Weight back, front leg forward. And we're twisting. So now right hand grabs left hand opens to back wall. And one more good inhale. Exhale. We're coming forward. You can just step out if you'd like, or Hold yourself in a swinging pike for a moment. Working on that gentle grip strength. Stepping out when you feel ready. Good work, that's it. Easy peasy, that's a swinging switch, you just did it, isn't it? Let's go ahead and take our full straddle back inversion. So fabric behind us. Slide your thumbs in, yep, just like you are. Keep the fabric across sacrum. That makes it so much more comfortable than higher or lower. So sacrum, and then you're keeping your hands with pressure so it doesn't slip anywhere. One foot steps back, and then put some weight into the fabric to take the slack out. And then you need to tiptoe forward, otherwise you'll swing like crazy lifting up from here. So tiptoe forward until you're under plumb line. And then at the same time, hands up, knees wide. Hands up, knees wide, all together. Yep, lean back further, yep, that's it. And then wrap your ankles. Let your hands slide just a little further down, that's it. Good work. Just like before, if you feel safe enough to release your hands, you're totally locked in. That's it.
Get your hands low as you want to. Okay. Head will make your back go straight.
Just like before, if you want to play with it, variations that you know, take it. Otherwise, just relax right here. Nothing wrong. We did it. Good job. That's exactly the pose we come to when you're done. Just lay back like that. So with this being the last inversion of the day, literally just hang out as long as your body needs it. If you're still here, those that are already back, we're gonna start taking some nice shoulder and neck stretches just to wrap us up. So first and foremost, let's clasp hands behind the head. We're bending the right knee and swaying the elbows to the right knee as well. So that allows a really long stretch all the way up the ribs. Even let the neck lean over. Good, straighten your right leg. Left knee bends, elbows to the left knee. And straighten both legs. Release the hands, clasping behind the back. And what you're gonna do is just let the shoulders roll open. So you don't have to swing arms super far back unless that's comfortable for you. While the arms are set up like that, we're gonna take some neck stretches. So drop your right ear to the right shoulder. You'll roll your head slightly behind the shoulder, jaw rotating up. Good, and then ear back over shoulder. Bring the head slightly in front of shoulder, nose turning down. And roll the nose all the way chin to chest, nose to chest, as deep as you can keep it. Beautiful. So head up, left ear to left shoulder. Rock the head slightly behind the shoulder, chin up. And ear over shoulder. Head slightly in front of shoulder, nose turns down. And roll chin to chest again. Now as head lengthens back up, try to pull hands a little further away from you wherever you're at. Good, gentle release. Cross the right arm over to the left, and then the left arm over to the right. So it's an X on the resting on the fabric. You're past the fabric, rest it on the fabric. Oh, there you go. Yep. And then walk yourself backwards to be standing up on your own. Leaning forward just a couple of inches starts to spread each arm to each direction. Just make sure the fabric doesn't slip past the shoulder blades. So we're just letting both shoulders take a little stretch forward. Then lean back, circle the arms up, inhale. Exhale, drop down. Inhale, back up. This time left arm first and then right. Stand up, lean forward. Beautiful. Rock back, open the arms. Good breath in and out. Walk yourself all the way to the top edge of the mat. Find the front end of the fabric and wave it out. One last shoulder stretch to wrap us up today. The top end, mirror end. So once you've waved out the fabric, you're sliding both elbows inside. Take the elbows at least a 90-degree angle. Some people like to go even higher. So from here, some people will bow the body forward to open up the pecs. I personally like to do a lunge. So one foot lunges forward, the other back, and then kind of leaning forward into it lets the shoulders pull open, the pecs open. Just a nice arm stretch. This is a one more chance to roll up the neck if you'd like. And after you've done this side for a couple of breaths, step back, elbows into the chest, into the waist, and just roll the head again for just loosening up the tightness that you discovered. And when you're ready for second side, if you did the lunge, second step, foot steps forward. I like to lean into it, but you can also just kind of drop the hips down. That's another way to experience good sensation. Good, one more huge inhale. Nice exhale. Step back. Currently, your thumb is out and the fingers are in. Switch that out. So thumb is in, fingers are out. Step forward far enough that you're not going to grab too much of the fabric with one fistful. And then you're taking about half the fabric, so about 5 or 6 good grips. We're heading back to Shavasana. If, by the way, you want to lay on the floor for Shavasana, that's always an option. Otherwise, head on in, lay your head back, get your legs in. And we'll settle into our final Shavasana of the day. Whenever your body's settled down, sooner or later, we're doing the opposite this time of what we did at the beginning. In the beginning, we started inward and started to expand our sense of perception out as far as we could reach. This time, do the opposite. Take a moment, and I won't guide you through it step by step, but what you'll do is start with the farthest outward sound that you can pick up, and you'll slowly start to work yourself inward until for the final part of Shavasana, you're just listening to the sounds of your body, your breath, your heart, your breathing, all of that good stuff. So senses out, getting gradually pulled in. Here begin to deepen the inhales and the exhales. Introduce little movements back to body, fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretch out like you're waking up first thing in the morning. We'll take a minute or so to do stretches. So maybe expand the wall, the arms to the back wall, and let the shoulders wiggle left and right. Sometimes people like to do a fetal position. So you keep the body long, but you roll onto one hip stacking on top of the other hip. And then from there, you can curl in like a tight little ball to the side and then arc the spine back. It's almost like a cat-cow to the side. If you're doing that, maybe do 3 or so to one side, eventually flip around, balance out the spine, 3 or so to the other side. Just waking up spine, waking up shoulders, waking up neck and body. Sooner or later, when that feels complete and balanced, start to work your way back up to a comfortable seated place. You make your way up to sitting, take hands together in front of heart. We'll come full circle back to the intention of throat chakra. Throat chakra being that ability to express ourselves clearly, that ability to listen clearly, deeply. And even here, as we allow a huge breath to pass in and out of the throat, we feel how having worked on the neck helps that breath flow so easily. So it has to do with that physical aspect too, allowing the muscles to relax so that breath flows. And so with this idea to help lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together with a resonant Om. Okay, take a deep inhale together now. Om. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.